Hello and welcome to our fourth lesson on this topic of respiration. This is our final lesson on this topic of respiration. So today we're going to be looking at metabolism. By the end of the lesson you should be able to define what metabolism is, you should be able to explain if it's possible to increase metabolism, and you should be able to evaluate the role of the liver in repaying oxygen debt. So let's start things off with a keyword. Our keyword is metabolism. Metabolism. And metabolism can be defined as the total of all reactions that happen in a cell or the body, which is known as metabolism. So the sum of all reactions that take place in a cell or an organism. Okay, so metabolism is the sum means total, of all reactions that take place in a cell or a living organism. Now, respiration is one reaction that contributes to metabolism. Okay, so we can add underneath here by saying that respiration is one reaction that contributes to metabolism. So there are lots of reactions. Respiration is only one of them. Our basal metabolic rate, or our BMR, so our basal metabolic rate, basal metabolic rate, or BMR, is the amount of reactions taking place in our body when we're completely at rest. So if you were to sit there and do absolutely nothing for an entire day, your basal metabolic rate would be the amount of reactions that are taking place when you're at rest. So our basal metabolic rate is the sum of all reactions taking place in an organism when it's at rest, when it is at rest. Okay? Now, there's lots of reactions that take place in your body at any one time, and all of these reactions contribute to your metabolism. So, lots of enzyme controlled reactions take place in your body and contribute to metabolism. Now, in actual fact, what we would normally have is a reactant which is turned into a product with use of an enzyme. Okay? Now the product is then turned into another product with use of another enzyme. And this time we'll call it enzyme 2. And then that product will be converted into another product with another enzyme, enzyme 3. So enzyme 3. Okay? Now, these reactions can be controlled by controlling the enzymes. So by giving enzymes their optimum conditions, we can speed up a reaction, or by slowing them down and not giving them their optimum conditions, we can slow down their reaction. So what I'm going to say is that metabolism, I'm going to put it in red, metabolism is controlled by enzymes, full stop. Metabolism can be sped up by giving these enzymes optimum conditions, or slowed down by not doing this, or slowed down by not giving optimum conditions. To enzymes. Okay. So metabolism is the sum of all reactions that take place in a cell or an organism. Respiration is one reaction that contributes to metabolism. Your basal metabolic rate is the sum of all reactions taking place in an organism when it's at rest, so such as when you're asleep. Lots of enzyme-controlled reactions take place in your body and contribute to metabolism. So oftentimes we'll have a reactant being turned into a product with use of one enzyme. The product is turned into another product with use of another enzyme, and that product is turned into another product with the use of that enzyme. By giving these enzymes their optimum conditions, we can speed up metabolism, and by giving them not their optimum conditions, we can slow it down. So let's refresh the board, send it back to black as Amy Winehouse would have says, even though that joke's way too old for you lot. And we can split the board in two to begin with. Now, you don't need to know these two keywords, but I'm going to use them because they're useful for what we're about to talk about. In fact, I'm going to get rid of that first. I do apologise. If you've drawn it in your book, it doesn't matter. But we're going to put in red that metabolism consists of both anabolic and catabolic reactions. So metabolism consists of both anabolic and catabolic reactions. And now we can divide the board up and we can give ourselves a table which we can write on. The first one we're going to talk about are anabolic reactions. Now, anabolic reactions are where larger molecules are made from smaller ones. So, where larger molecules are made from smaller ones. Okay, so anabolic reactions are where larger molecules are made from smaller ones. Now, anabolic reactions tend to be endothermic. They take in energy from the environment. So these types of reaction are endothermic. Just scratch my arm. Are endothermic comma, they take energy from the environment. So anabolic reactions are where larger molecules are made from smaller ones. These are endothermic. So, for example, glucose can be joined to form starch. So, smaller glucose molecules can be joined to form starch. Now, starch is found in plants, so this is an example of one from a plant. We can say that lipids can be built by joining glycerol and fatty acids. So we've got smaller glucose molecules can be added together to form starch. Lipids can be built by joining glycerol and fatty acids. And we can also have that glucose can be added to nitrate ions to make amino acids. So glucose can be joined with nitrate ions to form amino acids. So these are all examples of reactions in your metabolism or in an organism's metabolism which build larger molecules from smaller ones, and they take energy from the environment to do that. They are endothermic. On the other hand, we've got what are known as catabolic reactions. catabolic reactions. Okay, that's Catabolic reactions. Now, catabolic reactions are where smaller molecules are made from larger ones. So, a catabolic reaction is where larger molecules are broken down into smaller ones. Okay. Now, these type of reactions tend to be exothermic. They release energy into the environment. So these types of reaction are exothermic, they release energy into the environment. Okay. A perfect example of this is glucose is broken down in respiration. So glucose is broken down into smaller pieces or smaller parts in respiration. If you decide to do A-level biology, we'll do that in more detail, okay? And excess proteins are broken down into urea, which we'll talk about in year 11, in the liver. Okay, so if you've got these large protein molecules, they're broken down into smaller pieces known as urea in the liver, and then you can urinate the urea out, which again we'll talk about in year 11. So metabolism consists of both anabolic and catabolic reactions. Anabolic is where larger molecules are made from smaller ones. These are endothermic. They take energy from the environment. So you can turn glucose molecules into starch, provided energy is given. You can make lipids by adding glycerol and fatty acids together, provided you provide energy. Glucose can be joined with nitrate ions to form amino acids, which are the building blocks for proteins, provided you give the nitrate ions and glucose energy to do so. Catabolic reactions, Catabolic reactions, are where larger molecules are broken down into smaller ones. These type of reactions are exothermic. They release energy into the environment. Glucose is broken down into smaller parts in respiration, which is an example of a catabolic reaction, and excess proteins are broken down into urea in the liver. So, you should now be able to tell me what metabolism is, and you should be able to tell me if it's possible to increase metabolism. As an activity for the people in my lessons, you're going to be doing this third learning objective on your own. If you're watching on YouTube and you're not one of my students, I do apologise, but if you do have my email address, you can email me and I'll help you with the last one. If you have any questions about this lesson, do not hesitate to contact me. I will get back in touch with you as soon as I possibly can. Until the next lesson, stay safe, and I will see you then.